Hi, I'm Kurt from Parallels, and in this short video, I will give you a quick overview of Parallels Desktop 10. Of course, Parallels Desktop 10 has the same basic features as all previous versions of Parallels Desktop. Let me show you. In this window, Windows 7 is running. Outside the window, OS X Yosemite is running. You can move back and forth between these two operating systems just by moving the cursor. Windows cursor, Mac cursor. Windows cursor, Mac cursor. You can drag a file from the Mac desktop to the Windows desktop just like this. And then open that file by double-clicking, and that launches Word 2013 for Windows. You can scroll the Word window by moving the scroll bar here like this, but an easier and more natural way to do it for a Mac user is just to use your fingers on the trackpad to scroll the document, to zoom it, like this. Parallels was the first to bring Mac gestures to Windows applications. Having Windows 7 appear in a window like this is how I use Parallels Desktop, but most users use what we call coherence. In coherence, the Windows desktop disappears, and all that remains are the Windows applications. These Windows applications can appear right alongside Mac applications, just like this. So here we have simple text and Word for Windows running side by side. You can switch back and forth between them, just as you would between any two Mac applications. Of course, Parallels Desktop can run more than just Windows 7. It can also run Windows 8 and OS X Lion and many other operating systems. So, these are the basic features of Parallels Desktop 10. Features that have been in Parallels Desktop for years. Now let me show you some of the new features in Parallels Desktop 10. Parallels Desktop has dozens and dozens of preferences and settings, and these are needed by advanced users. But these many different settings can be daunting for a new user. In Parallels Desktop 10, we have added user profiles to make it easy for the beginning user to get the optimal settings. For any virtual machine, at any time, you can use these user profiles to specify what you'll be doing, and so that Parallels Desktop 10 can give you the optimal settings for the job at hand. And you can change these settings whenever you want. I, for example, might set the software development profile when I'm working during the day. But in the evening, if I want to play a Windows game, I can, with a single mouse click, get the optimal settings for gameplay. And speaking of advanced users of Parallels Desktop, in Parallels Desktop 10, we have increased the amount of computational power of the Mac, which can be dedicated to a single virtual machine. Here you see the dialog which is used to do this. I can specify how many CPUs out of the 8 available on my MacBook Pro to assign to a virtual machine, as well as the amount of RAM to assign to that same virtual machine. The limits in this dialog are based on the Mac you are running on. That's why the number of CPUs is limited to 8, and the amount of RAM is limited to something less than the 16 gigabytes of RAM on my MacBook Pro. I wanted to show you the full limits in Parallels Desktop 10, so I asked a friend of mine who has a Mac Pro to send me a screenshot of his dialog, and here you can see that the limit of 16 CPUs and 64 gigabytes of RAM in Parallels Desktop 10 that can be assigned to a single virtual machine. Many of the advanced users of Parallels Desktop are developers, either app developers or web developers, and developers need to test their new applications or websites on a variety of versions of Windows and a variety of versions of IE. To assist our mutual developer customers, Parallels has partnered with Microsoft to provide a number of different Windows virtual machines as 90-day free trials. A developer can download and install these free trials by clicking on the Modern IE Test Environments button in the new Virtual Machine Wizard. After reading a description of these test environments and agreeing to the Microsoft EULA, the developer can pick the desired Windows VM from a variety in a list, ranging from Windows XP with IE6 to Windows 8.1 with IE11. Once selected, the download can begin. I've already downloaded 2 of these VMs, as you can see in my Parallels Desktop Control Center. Opening the Windows 8 VM with IE10, you can see that it is a full-featured version of Windows 8, and when you view the desktop, you're reminded that it's a trial, and in my case, has 61 days remaining. Parallels and Microsoft are both hoping that these VMs will assist our developer customers. This is yet one more feature in Parallels Desktop 10. Virtual machines can take up a lot of space on your Mac's hard drive. It's not unusual, for example, to see VMs that are 100, 150, or even 200 gigabytes in size. To assist you in managing and minimizing the space on your hard disk, Parallels Desktop 10 has added several features. The first is the Free Up Disk Space wizard that you see here. This wizard provides you with the status of the 4 areas that can consume the most disk space: snapshots, suspended virtual machines, the virtual disks of your VMs, and the cached files from downloading Parallels Desktop and other items. The Free Disk Space wizard will show you what is taking up the most space so you can manage it most efficiently. One area here deserves special mention: the space consumed by the virtual disks of your virtual machines. In Parallels Desktop, these virtual disks would automatically grow when you installed new applications or added new files. However, in Parallels Desktop 9 and earlier, these virtual disks would not automatically shrink when you deleted items. You could manually shrink these virtual disks by reclaiming the empty space, but most users would forget to do this. So now, in Parallels Desktop 10, virtual drive images automatically grow and automatically shrink. Let me show you. Here you see my Windows 7 virtual machine, and in its configuration window, you can see that it occupies about 38.5 gigabytes. Let's drag a 4 gigabyte file into this VM and watch what happens to the size of the virtual disk. It gradually begins to grow as more and more of the file is copied into the virtual machine. And as expected, when completed, it occupies a little more than 42 gigabytes. This is the growing behavior that has been in Parallels Desktop for years. But watch what happens now when I delete this file. Delete, empty the trash, and then watch what happens to the size of the virtual disk. At first, it seems like nothing happens, and then the background processes in Parallels Desktop watch for free space in the disk image and automatically reclaim it. And there it is. And now it's reclaimed. So the virtual disk is now back to its original 38.5 gigabytes in size. This is new in Parallels Desktop 10 and is a feature that will benefit all users, novices and experts alike. The features in Parallels Desktop that I enjoy showing the most are features in which we bring some of the goodness of the macOS over to Windows. So I'll conclude this short video by showing you one of these features. You all know the Launchpad feature in the macOS. In Launchpad, the desktop is blurred and the apps installed on your Mac are shown. You exit Launchpad by clicking on one of these apps or clicking in the blurred area. Parallels Desktop 10 brings Launchpad to Windows 8. To see this, all you have to do is put your Windows 8 VM into coherence. And when you do, the desktop gets blurred and the Windows 8 tiles float on your desktop. Clicking on one of these tiles launches that app, and clicking anywhere else exits the Parallels Launchpad. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this short demo of Parallels Desktop 10. You can see additional features and get more details and other videos on the Parallels site. Thank you very much.